Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I'm really excited to be uploading because I haven't been uploading in a super long time, such a long time, and it's because I've been traveling on the weekends, been really busy with other live streams, just been super busy overall, but I've been doing the World of Warcraft NA Cups and an EU Cup as well, just been having a great time with that. I'm going to actually roll a clip right now.
Head here because Novo still has that trinket. Thugonomics using his wall from the Bloodlust of Jamili, trying to stop that pressure. There's the leg sweep from Chun-Li. Back and forth pressure now. The Bloodlust from Jamili being popped. That's so much damage. It does fade now. Thugonomics, no defensive cooldowns left available. This is the Ascendance from Novos, but tons of damage connecting from Rosie's. That's the Vendetta. Thugonomics 5% life. How is he going to survive this one? The full Hex lands from Jamili. Novos doesn't get the heal off, and Thugonomics drops.
Yeah, I had such a fun time. That was me casting. I had such a fun time casting the cups last weekend, and I did a couple of them actually. But I'm back home now, back to making videos. So let's hop into a game as we do here on this channel. Here I am playing with Oz and Envious, like we normally do. We play Arcane ELE Holy Priest. It's a very weird composition, but we do make it work, and I'm having a lot of fun playing this, so I'm still playing this composition. Would I recommend it? Not necessarily. It's not the greatest comp of all time, but here we are. Here's my spec real quick. Just a very basic Arcane Mage spec. If you haven't checked out my Arcane Mage guide, I'll go over every single thing that you need to know when you're playing Arcane. But just playing the very bare bones basic spec. And the reason I'm choosing this game here on Tiger's Peak Arena versus the Holy Pally on Holy Balance Druid is because it was very difficult for us to beat these guys. We fought them a lot. I think our series, I think we might have been ahead in the series by the end. I wasn't keeping track, so I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on that. But we fought them a lot, and it was just very difficult because what they wanted to do was have the Death Knight grip me in into a stun with a Hammer of Justice with a Root Beam on our healer. I'm actually going to replay that because we went very offensive at the start. And then they would just get my trinket, get my Ice Block, get all of our cooldowns, and we just die. We just die instantly like every time. So that's why it was so difficult. But right away, we're starting onto the Pally with that Chastise, where I'm using Arcane Power, Presence of Mind, and basically Colo and Valido are just not peeling me at all. I can just go ham onto the Paladin right here. They use AMZ, and then check this out. Oz, the ELE Shaman, actually knocks the Paladin out of the AMC, so he takes more damage, and then Earthshock stuns him. So that opener was just incredibly played by Oz, the ELE Shaman, knocking him out of that AMC, restunning that Paladin. We just get bubble right away, so great, like fantastic opener for us, best case scenario. And they're actually running at our priest. So they tried a couple different strats. They tried running at our shaman, they tried running at our priest, they tried running at me. I think their best strategy was to run at me, and I really had to adapt to that play style. And what I mean by that is I had to play very far back and not let the Death Knight even grip me in. And if the Death Knight did grip me in, insta-blink, instant have my priest trinket the Root Beam, or instant trinket invis myself, or instant Ice Block, right? So there's always a defensive cooldown being used in return when the enemies wanted to Root Beam my healer and stun me. Because if we don't use one, then we die without blocking, and that happened as well yesterday, so feels bad, man. But that Mark of Valuna connects on the leader now, tons of damage, and now the stuns going on the Envy. This might have been one of the games where they are just training down the Holy Priest, and it's actually very difficult to peel this, right? Because we can't sheep the Moonkin, unfortunately. We don't have Cyclones because we're not playing the Druid, right? Normally I play like Arcane Boomy where we can just Cyclone over and over. We don't have Cyclones. I can't sheep one of the targets. DK is the target that we really want to keep up pressure on, so I can't really sheep much at all unless I sheep the Paladin, but we do a ton of damage on Valido. The Icebound Fortitude is forced. They all still have their trinkets available though, so we really want to kill. I mean, we can kill all three, right? We're Arcane ELE. We can one-shot anything at any time. Like, this is how we get setups. Like, you might ask, how do you get a kill as Arcane ELE? This is a great example of that. Pally's at 100% life. There's a slow on him for the extra damage. There's an Arcane Barrage, gets him to 85%. Flame Shocks on him from the ELE, he's at 83%. Couple Chain Lightning, 72%. And we throw him into that 2-second War Stomp. And in the meantime, we're throwing out some more instant cast damage. Blood Elf Silence and a Earthshock stun overlapped. A couple missiles off. All of a sudden, creates pressure. Paladin's down to 24%. Has to use that wall. Has to use his wings to top his team back off. That's how you do it, right there. I just broke it down exactly for you guys. Paladin's now 15%. He does eventually top himself back off, but that's how we generate pressure. We generate pressure with Counterspell. We generate pressure with Blood Elf Silence. We generate pressure with Earthshock stun. And we generate pressure with Chastise stun. Once again, my priest is being focused pretty hard. The Root Beam's coming out onto me. Tons of damage coming out on the Envy Elf, which is, of course, Envioso. He is one of the greatest Holy Priests I've ever played with. Probably the greatest Holy Priest I've ever played with. The guy's incredible. He's doing non-stop pro plays. And one of the reasons why I would not necessarily recommend this composition for you guys to run is because you need an Envioso for this comp to work. You need a Holy Priest that just is doing some next level stuff. And it's not I wouldn't call this like an OP flavor of the month comp. You have to play it very specifically to have a chance. Something I want to note here, Pally sheared, DK stunned, and you're watching Gladius, right? You're watching this Cyclone cast here from Colo, which is not actually Colo, by the way. It's a Druid who named himself Colo. He's casting that Cyclone. This is our go, right? Like, we're doing a lot of pressure right here. We don't want the Cyclone to go off, so this is a great time to use the Counterspell. And I think I use my Counterspell 3 here to Counterspell the third arena target to actually Counterspell Colo in that go, because the Pally was my focus target. Valito is my main target, so to counterspell Colo, actually I'd use my counterspell 1, 2, 3 macros that I use. I have a video talking about all my macros and stuff like that in my guide if you want to check that out as well. But that Hex is out on the Paladin, Hex breaks. This is kind of where we're looking great. They're all 50% life. ELE Shaman spreads some pressure. We're all full life. They're low on defensive cooldowns. Colo pops his Incarnate, try to turn the pressure around, but this is really what we're looking for. They're stacked. Chain Lightnings everywhere. Flame Shocks everywhere. Arcane damage everywhere. Pally's incredibly low life. I'm actually really surprised he didn't go down right there. But he does have that wall up, the wings up, that 2-stack Holy Light buff for the reduced damage. So he does barely survive. He does a great job of topping his team back off. And I actually want to commend this Paladin. I don't know exactly who this Paladin is. Garbage you pal. Don't know based on his name. But he is playing it phenomenally well. This Paladin, we played, I think, like, probably 6-7 times yesterday, and I just want to say, he just played it great. He played it phenomenally, so well played to this Paladin if you're watching the video. But a couple sheeps onto the Paladin, Valito grips me in, and now it looks like they kind of want to change their attention to me just a little bit because they aren't quite taking down my Holy Priest. I have cooldowns up in about 20 seconds, have the Mark of Valunith up if I want to get a big burst window, channeling that evocation while there's a little bit of downtime. But now, this is kind of when dampening is going to set in. This is when we are going to do a lot more pressure and kind of get our kill, right? That's kind of how this works. The full moon's being casted, and we just kind of let it go off. Wasn't, when there's no CC on your priest, damage is okay to come off sometimes. You don't want to avoid all the damage, because if you let them use full moon with no CC, then you just heal through it, it's fine. But if you wait for the CC, then you full moon, that's when you're in trouble. So that Hammer of Justice lands on my priest, throw out that mass invisibility, throw out the temp shield, throw out my wall. Bunch of minor cooldowns there to survive that go without actually having to use my ice block or priest trinket, anything like that. So that's very, very nice. Paladin pops that wings once again. A little scary for him. I have arcane power. I have presence of mind. If we land a lockout, he's just dead, but he just spam fakes, so it's very difficult. Throwing out that orb, reapplying the slow. I guess here's another thing I really want to note, guys. You get 15% extra damage when you have slow on the target, or any slow on the target. So if there's no slow, apply that slow, because it's a ton of extra damage. So keep that slow up on the target at all times. I'm actually slowing pretty much all 3 targets right here. Not even for the damage increase, but more for defensive play, right? If I'm the one being pressured, I'll throw a slow onto Valito, throw a slow on Pally, throw a slow on the Moonkin, and just line of sight. That's very defensive Arcane Mage play, and that's completely fine. Cyclone being casted now. I have that Ray of Hope. It'll top me back off. Really don't want a Cyclone to connect. Doesn't look like it's going to. Ray tops me back off. Pally at 28% mana. Probably has bubble back by now. Now, the Mark of Valunith lands on the Valito. I still have cooldowns, so once we get any type of CC, I'm going to pop my cooldowns onto the DK or to the Paladin most likely, just because that Druid can go Bear Form, Frenzied Regen, heal it back, or just, we haven't really been hitting the Moonkin at all, so he probably still has his heal or some of his defensive cooldowns. He probably has skin. I haven't quite checked, but throwing the slows out everywhere once again, get kicked there in my Arcane Blast attempt. That's something you probably notice about my Arcane Mage gameplay, or about any Arcane Mage gameplay at high rating, is that we're not casting Arcane Blast, right? We are casting Arcane Explosion, Arcane Barrage, Missiles, Mark of Valunith sometimes, but Arcane Blast is almost solely when you have Presence of Mind available for those instant casts. Paladin now horses up. We put a slow on him, the chassis on over to Colo. They're all rotting now, and this is pretty much how we want the game to look as the game gets later and later. And we want to play very defensively still, because we don't want to let them start turning the pressure around. So whenever they look at me, look at this, I'm 100 yards away, really trying to space them out, getting some damage off onto Colo now. But the Paladin, usually, like, I think most of our wins were killing Paladin just because it's such an easy kill target. Like you saw at the start of the game. If we get a couple stuns, couple Blood Elf silences, couple Chastise stuns, some pressure, boom, it's a bubble. So if we do that 2 or 3 times, he's dead. However, and this is something we had to learn, you cannot chase the Paladin or else you'll just die yourself. So if we're just running at the Paladin, you might ask, like, why don't you just run at him if he's such an easy kill target? If you just run at the Paladin, then you'll die, or, like, I'll die. Because I still have to play very defensively if I want to survive myself, right? So there's the skin from the Boomkin. There's the sack to keep the DK alive. They're running out of cooldowns very quickly. Paladin's now running in, and this is when we want to hit the Pally, because he ran into us. He's in our territory. Warstomp connects. There's the wall. Pally pops his wings, his freedom. Tons of damage, but he does have the wings up. Those melee wings heal so much. He's going to top his entire team back off, but once these wings fade, that's when we can do a lot of pressure. And I do like this Pally is playing melee wings instead of that double sack, because melee wings, if you guys don't know, every time he attacks a target is going to heal his team. And basically what they do is play very defensive. They play very defensive. He pops melee wings. They run in, and they can't die. They play very defensive again. Their DK is getting very low, though. 3% life, 10% life. Looks like he might go down here. Throw out the Arcane Orb, Arcane Barrage. So much pressure. Pally's the Innervate gets thrown out onto him. Corpse Shield being popped as well, so it looks like Vlito's actually going to survive another day. Throw out that Evocation, getting my mana back. That Innervate got purged by Oz, so beautiful purge by Oz there, throwing out that mass invisibility, trying to do anything I can to get in line of sight. Mark of Elune, it does connect onto Vlito. Arcane Orb, now just so much damage. Pally pops Bubble, AMC, that's the last of their defensive cooldowns. Oz, once again, beautiful knockout of that AMC. Pally now target of choice, throwing up that slow, throwing out those missiles. DK's still low. The Incarnation from Colo's fading. This game's all but over. Pally's 20% life. Have the presence of mind still. I actually am forcing the ice block, but there is that Ray that is going to top me off, so I can come out at any time, pop my offensive cooldowns, and this Pally's going to go down. Boom, boom. There's the double Arcane Blast. Pally falls. GG. But yeah, once again, guys, this is a very difficult game. They actually won a lot of games just by doing Ghost on the me. I think they might have killed my Priest once, my Shaman once, but hard matchup. Once we kind of learned how to play it very defensively, we started doing a lot better. So yeah, this game I kind of showed you because it was just so difficult for us to win. Here's the damage breakdown. 126 million from the ELE Shaman, and then the Boomkin and I are very similar. DK's a little bit lower, but he was being kited, so that's kind of expected. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you missed me, tell me down below in the comments, because I missed you guys. I miss uploading to YouTube. I want to try to get back in that daily trend, but I'm very busy with the AMD streams, my own live streams, traveling, stuff like that. So I'm trying to upload as much as I can, but it's a very busy year for me, but I'm very excited for this year as well. So thumbs video up for all of that stuff. Thumbs video down if you didn't like it. Talk to me below in the comments for what you guys want to see next time, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.